Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome. Thank you for attending today's webinar. Before we begin, I'd like to cover just a few items regarding this webinar platform. At the bottom of your screen, you'll notice a handful of widgets, mainly the Q&A widget, which you can utilize to submit any questions you have throughout today's webinar session. For viewing purposes, you can also expand your viewing window by clicking on the icon found on the top right corner of the slide viewer. If you have any technical difficulties, please click on the Help widget. And lastly, do take a moment to fill out the survey at the end of the webinar. At this time, I'll turn it over to our presenter.
Hello all, appreciate you attending today. My name is Jeffrey Erb, and that's Mark Lenio that just gave the wave, the only person you're going to be seeing today. That ought to tell you that I have a face for radio, more so than for video. Also joining us today is Nick Julioza. God, that always kills me. Nicky G, as I like to call him. He is our resident Pennsylvania territory manager for education and higher ed. So he is our SWAT team, and we'll be making a guest appearance here very shortly. Again, thank you first for showing up today. And I am vamping here until I can actually see the deck, and then hopefully we can get this party started for you here. So, Mark, are you actually seeing the deck, my friend?
I am, sir, yes.
Okay, so I am having one heck of a time seeing it. So I'm assuming we're on slide one right now, and just an entry slide. So the premise of today's presentation, all that are on, is to really give you a pre and post COVID idea of where an Intel market-ready solution, such as the ViewSonic Viewboard, and then the sister products to the Viewboard can be introduced in your environments, and why they benefit you, and why the MyViewboard software ecosystem is of actually greater benefit to you than perhaps the hardware, and we'll be going into that rationale here very shortly. So on the second slide here, this is legitimate here, and I know that there is our friends here at New Jersey University are praying for a low turnout because we are giving away one of our 75-inch interactive flat panels. So the IFP70 along with the slot-in Win 10 PC, or depending on whether it's a Chrome environment, then we would actually deliver a Chrome box and then our rolling cart to go along with this. You'll see this as a recurring theme that all of the product that will be discussed today will have ties into how we maximize your environment either in a Chrome or Windows, but then also discussing how Intel Unite is actually a super top secret weapon for you in your environment as well. So before we get any deeper into that, some shiny keys for you. And this is on the third slide where we actually have our healthcare kiosks that we have delivered back in August of this year. Honestly, the secret sauce here is the stand itself, coming with the hand sanitizer mount. This would then leverage your traditional buying processes that you have from either Cisco Foods or whomever your facilities people are that would actually provide that for you, with different levels of Visa configurations on here. So from our displays to be there to be able to provide you with the information. And then, to be, excuse me, I just got a shot out of the side there. But there's also an interesting thing that we just determined with one of our third-party software providers is the ability to be able to have motion automation on these. So when somebody's actually entering your building for the first time or a leadership area, this automation would automatically pop on the device and bring up your strategy within your environment, be it healthcare related, be it from just the overall citizenship of your environment. This would be able to bring that up, or whatever you're looking for from a signage solution point of view. Now, when we look at this, and this is really when we look at what it was before COVID. Let's look at it from that point of view. Is that it was the wild, wild west. Every student sat next to each other, on top of each other, joked, laughed, passed notes, or if in the conference room, at the university, the provosts and whatnot, would all sit around the table and determine who got to grab the HDMI cable the fastest so they could lead the presentation. So then something amazing happened in the beginning of this year or toward the end of last year, and I don't know if you all are familiar with it, but there's a little outbreak that happened, and that really caused, here in slide 5, what we're looking at from a panic point of view, and what you were going to do in that environment. All of a sudden, now you're like, whoa. We cannot have anybody in the classroom. We cannot have anybody in the conference room. What are we going to do? And then that led to the fact of, let's get every laptop that we can and get people to their home offices. Let's start leveraging Zoom, Teams, Jeans, whatever, Skype for Business, whatever that solution was, to make sure that you had some kind of deliverable there. Then we moved into that next phase of, okay, how do we optimize that? We've now had emergency spend on the hardware or on the software side of the house. And now we really need to say, okay, what do we add onto this to lather this, to make this more efficient? And then when we realized that this may not be over as quickly as we all want, and this may actually continue into 2021, later 2021, and maybe even touching 2022, I don't want to be Eeyore here, but it might be that way, is okay, now we really are talking about 5-6 quarters. How do we optimize? What softwares do we bring in? Who are the subject matter experts that are actually going to make this efficient so we deliver the very best to our student population that we possibly can? And Mark has some statistics behind this. Mark, can I pass to you, please?
Absolutely. Thank you, Jeff. So as we look for the world that we live in is a hybrid world. So when we talk about virtual and remote learning as well as in office, just some basic numbers that increasingly, unfortunately, continue to grow, but over 130 countries have shut schools due to some capacity. 72% of the world's population has been affected so far of students, and obviously more than 1 billion is the estimate number of students disrupted in worldwide learning. So, looks like, let's move back. There we go, perfect. So when we talk about how we can directly help affect with ViewSonic these closures, so when we talk about the types of distance learning and a hybrid learning, we have a great resource here with ViewSonic. Not only do we have specific education field reps throughout the United States and the world, but more importantly, we have current and former teachers that also help make up our professional development arm. So when we're talking about how we can directly help you with live or synchronous learning, or virtual and on-demand or asynchronous learning, some of the stuff that we're going to cover today with ViewSonic, whether it's on-site, live lectures, or learning the hybrid environment and video on demand, this really talks us into ViewSonic blended and distance learning solutions. So with that, I'd like to introduce Nick as well, who covers Pennsylvania, West Virginia. And Nick, if I'm not correct, you cover several other states as well, too, in the Northeast. But one thing I like to bring on Nick about is to talk about how we can directly help you now in 2020. It's weird that sometimes the slide keeps moving back, so I'm just going to move it forward to where I need it, to slide 8. Nick, so if you want to kind of just jump on and talk a little bit about what you're seeing from the end users that have directly helped you in the K through 20 market, and how ViewSonic is helping out with Q1 and what's coming out for us.
Yeah, for sure. So like I said, I'm Nick Galuzza. I'm the K through 20 rep for New York, PA, and West Virginia. So we have a lot of different solutions that definitely help out with distance or hybrid learning. Our MyViewboard software really provides a great platform for students to be able to hop in, see what their teachers are doing. And there's a lot of different tools inside of there for teachers that allow them to bring annotation, recording, and self-video on top of any lesson plan inside of any program that they're working with. So it's great in both K through 12, college, pretty much everywhere the program can be used, and the tools are really easy to use. On top of that, Mark kind of mentioned a little bit earlier, we do have tons of professional development available. We have free programs that are self-paced online where teachers can hop in and learn all the features at a self-paced rate by watching videos that our professional development team has created. And we also have virtual PD available where our teachers can meet with your team virtually. And then we also do on-site as well, and that's starting to open back up. So there's a lot of different options that we have available with our different software suites, and then a lot of different options for us to teach you how to use it and be absolute, most effective. So, Mark, I don't know if there was anything specific that else you wanted me to cover, but I guess I'll toss it back to you.
Sure. So, I mean, obviously we have Robert from New Jersey City University on, so it's a direct question that I always talk about from the higher learning aspect. So one great feature about ViewSonic is our open platform technology. So if I go back a little bit to slide 8 and talk about, there we go, a little bit about all the different options from interactive displays, which as mentioned, we're giving away one of our 75-inch interactive displays today, to presentation displays, non-touch, touch, projectors, desktop displays. Nick, do you just want to kind of jump on about real quick what you see as that's been driving into higher education, whether it's maybe our TD 2455 or just some of the higher education needs in a hybrid environment for 2020?
Yeah, so our interactive displays start at 24 inches, which is great for podiums. We're seeing that a lot in colleges. We also have a software program called MyViewboard Display, which will allow you to mirror anything that you're doing on any device. So at Penn State specifically, I know that we put dual 98-inch units at the front of the room, and then we flank it with 3 55-inch units in the other sides of the room, just mirroring the screen so that people in those huge rooms can see everything going on there. So there's a lot of different options for that. And with that, it's, like I said, it's teamed up with a 24-inch on a podium so that the teacher can stand there and work on everything while facing the class and showing off the data. So pretty cool stuff. We go from 24 to 55, 65, 75, 86, and 98. And, can fit any needs with that.
Great. Well, thank you, Nick. So one thing we definitely just want to reiterate is the ability to not only take care of your future needs as well as implementation deployment, but also have you covered on the back end from management, deployment when it comes to as well from teacher or from the IT and the device management, which is something we'll talk about as well too. So when we look a little bit more about knowing how to talk distance learning, we've all learned a lot about this in 2020. So being able to provide end users, the schools, the teachers, an open platform device is really the core focus about ViewSonic from our Viewboards, as mentioned, from 55-inch all the way to 98-inch, to really how we partner with Microsoft, Intel, and we focus on how we can use what's already in your existing environment. So when we talk about implementing on the technology aspect, this can be from one-to-one devices, already devices that are in your environment, like a BYOD environment, to more importantly, having you covered from the software and platform access and security. From the training aspect, I know I've touched on this a little bit before, but I can't touch on it enough because it is so important. Everyone learns technology at a different rate. Some see code, some see glass and plastic. Needless to say, we have it covered from a train-the-trainer model to a mass deployment model when it comes for how we can help with adoption when it comes to our interactive displays. I always call them giant iPads, giant iPhones, because you probably looked at it during this conversation, probably in your pocket, or you're looking at a TV screen or a laptop in front of you. Touch is just such a part of our world right now, and it's just another aspect that as we migrate back into brick and mortar, this is just something that we want to make sure you're comfortable and knowing that you're working with a manufacturer of ViewSonic that really relies on training. The measured outcomes, there's a lot that MyViewboard can do when it comes to assessment as well as metrics and data, especially on the higher ed level. This is something that's important that we want to make sure that you're aware of, because how teachers are teaching is important, and you want to make sure that it's resonating with the audience. So there's a lot of built-in metrics that we can cover as well too at a later date or offline. So you're looking right now at our virtual and once again distance learning solution. It's all about choosing what works for you. If you have someone that's doing a live stream, because we all talk about how people want to stream content, or if you're using a device like this, right now we're on 24, but another important thing that we'll talk about is how our Viewboards are Teams or Zoom certified. We have our 70 series, which is Windows collaboration device certified, which is really important. As I always talk about, key partner with ViewSonic is Intel, and having the devices being MRS ready. So however you're using it, we have the security built in mind if you're doing broadcasting or streaming, or if you're doing live video sharing, and when you're talking about visualizing your ideas and being able to interact with your audience. So everything from wonderful collaboration tools that a teacher can use, both touch or non-touch, or even use their own device as their iPhone to be able to touch and control a laser pointer or be able to use it on the screen itself. So really, once again, technology is only as useful as someone's comfort level. One thing I'll bring Nick back on just for a little bit to talk about our MyViewboard ecosystem. And when I talk about MyViewboard is the software that comes with our interactive display. And here's the best part for everyone on this call. It is free. MyViewboard is our annotation suite, which gives the ability for teachers or students or end users the ability to not only present, task, share, collaborate, feedbacks, quizzes, a lot of great content. But one thing I always like to engage our education teams directly is to really kind of say, what are schools primarily using our software for? Just because you can use it to write on a board, you can actually deploy it on any existing Windows device. So if you have any laptops or desktops, a teacher or student can then easily use our MyViewboard software, as well as from an IT standpoint, you can manage it, entity management, so you can know who's using it, do updates, all from a single console. So Nick, I'll ask you just to jump right back on real quick. And if you might just want to touch on one or two things that you really see as a primary driver for how people are using MyViewboard software.
Yeah, for sure. And like this slide says, we have a lot of different tools for preparing your materials. And one of the biggest things that's not listed here is that we work with almost everybody's materials. So if you have like Smart or Promethean lesson plans from the past and you want to move forward with the newer technology like ours, those lesson plans will continue to work inside of our software, and there's no extra strain or work needed on the IT department. There's no conversion process or anything. They all just open up if you know where they are, which is really cool. So when it comes to presenting your lessons, all of that stuff, you can really go out and find the best content for whatever the subject is and not worry about where that content is coming from, because it's most likely going to work. Also, we do have the ability to connect cloud accounts like OneDrive and Google Drive, Dropbox, Box, all of those different resources will allow you to bring in your resources from no matter where you are. And there's a ton of different options for driving participation too. So we have a couple different software versions of MyViewboard. Our online version allows students to connect directly and share the whiteboard with each other or with the teacher. And we have a ton of different polling and quizzing features that are built right in as well. So there's a lot of different tools out there that are really useful to both the teacher and the student.
Thanks, Nick. So, Robert, I'm virtually talking to you right now. So feel free to engage us as well afterwards if you'd like more of a personal one-on-one demonstration of this, because I think there's all different ways that people use software. And this might be something that you don't use, or you only use it in certain situations. But the best part is with the boards as well, too. If you're using the MyViewboard software platform, as mentioned, you can deploy it as needed. People individually, as Nick mentioned, can link it to their own account, so save it to their 365, their G Suite, however they want. Or if you don't use it, there's still annotation tools that are built into the display itself, regardless of the input, whether you're using the PC, the Android OS that comes on the board, or if you swapped it to one of the HDMI inputs, you still have the ability to annotate on the board as well, too. So I will just pause real quick because I know my colleague was trying to jump in. So Jeff, do you want to see if you can chat and we can hear you for a second? Oh, I do apologize. Looks like we're having some audio issues, so I'll just go ahead and continue. So once again, this is just the overall arching portfolio of all things that we talked about as well, too, from digital whiteboarding to cloud collaboration to MyViewboard software to really how you can live stream open platform as I talk about. Biggest thing that works for me is whether it's Windows, whether it's Chrome, Android, Apple, iOS, you want to be able to work what's already in your existing environment, and that's the key and really what ViewSonic strives on their platform. So I will just kind of ask this as well too, Nick. What are some of the differences in delivering that you see between the K through 12 and the higher ed when it comes to deployment of either the Viewboards or the actual software and usage itself?
Yeah, so with higher ed, it's more about our Windows version of the MyViewboard software, where it gives us the ability to go back into the PC and use all the tools that we're currently using while adding recording and annotation on top of it. Inside of K through 12, there's more built-in tools into the whiteboard itself, to where teachers are kind of sitting in there and creating games and stuff like that for the students to play with. Also, the higher ed takes advantage more, we see, with live streaming to YouTube and things like that, versus just recording the lesson plan and uploading it to Google Classroom. But other than that, a lot of the tools will work in both situations. So it's a really good tool.
And do you find, are you hearing me now?
Oh. You're good, sir. Go for it.
Oh, that's outstanding. So Nick, from a K-12 or higher ed perspective, I mean, obviously the second wave, hitting here of COVID, are you finding more that the college is more circumspect, that they are going to be, that university is going to be delivering more asynchronous teaching solutions than K-12, or are they pretty on par here, where both are going down this path, and the MyViewboard solutions would be more appropriate for them?
So I think that this answer can't really be answered overall. It's more about the geography that you're in. The areas that I cover, New York and Pennsylvania, the colleges are pretty much all remote, and the K through 12 are almost all in class. So, and then West Virginia is kind of the opposite. So it really depends on where you're at and what the local government is telling the schools to do or recommending for them to do. But, for the most part, we have tools that can help in both situations. And the one really nice thing with ViewSonic is if you choose to partner with us, those solutions don't cost you any extra with the hardware.
No, very, very well put. Very well put. That leads us into, how that content can be delivered. And Nick was touching on that earlier as well, is that, you're really not just limited to the MyViewboard component of this, although it is, we have over 50 developers and architects that work around the clock. This is a ViewSonic delivered solution. So this is not, where we're waiting on third party and bug fixes and whatnot. This is, we take everything that we that is delivered to you from your peers. So teachers, again, provosts, leadership within the universities or K-12 systems, and what they believe that would be best served for you. One of the interesting components to this, is that you can stand this up with Intel Unite. So this is the collaboration solution from Intel Market Ready Solutions, where several of the school districts or universities participating on this webinar now or listening to this via the recording, if you have Unite servers already stood up on campus, all you need to do is just hang our displays on the wall. So we are the world's first, actually still the only Intel Unite digitally certified digital whiteboards. So this is a direction where we work very closely with Intel and with Microsoft to make sure that our Viewboards meet their strictest standards and are optimized accordingly. As a matter of fact, the MyViewboard software is a hook within Intel Unite now. So if you were actually leveraging Intel Unite, you could actually incorporate MyViewboard into your Intel Unite construct immediately, and have that solution as a secondary for you. As everybody has said, several times here from this point of view, is that, we're operating system agnostic, we're application agnostic, but we do lean very heavily and have our alliances in check, be it from an Alphabet, a Chrome, Google point of view, or the Win 10 environment. So we have the ability to deliver on so many different levels and so many different sizes to you. And I'm not going to steal Mark's thunder here in a second, but there is one that's coming. Should already be to market, but COVID has taken advantage of us all. But it allows us here in early 2021 to deliver something to the higher ed, I think, more appropriately than into a traditional K-12 classroom. So I'm definitely looking forward to him explaining that one to you. And then we're going to come back around and discuss the higher level 70 series of the Viewboards that are Microsoft certified completely. And we'll go from there. So, Mark, I'm going to turn it back over to you, and then hopefully I don't lose my voice here in a couple seconds. And maybe I might not be. So if I'm not catching Mark here at all, Nick, am I catching you?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Oh, beautiful. Okay, I thought I was ushered off to an island again. Oh, here comes Mark. Okay, very good. Mark, go right ahead.
No worries. Sure. So, yeah, just to kind of talk about as well, too, the wonderful world of finding a mute button on Thursday. So, yes, on our Viewboard displays, we always talk about the slot-in PCs, as we talked about Intel Market Ready, Intel Unite certified on some of the models. These are a great option that I would say definitely in the higher ed, about 9 out of 10 usually prefer to get this. You, of course, yes, can attach your own laptop or desktop, but one thing we highly recommend is that it meets the specs. The great part about having the slot-in PC is, of course, you can image it just like any other device in your environment management, but this is made for specifically to run the Viewboard flawlessly. They're an Intel 8th gen processor, either an i5 or an i7. 8 or 16 gigs. Obviously, you can go up to 32 depending on your needs. But once again, you just try to make it easy when you're talking about a device that's 4K, 20 points of touch. You want to have the PC to be able to manage it and run it smoothly. As we kind of go a little bit more, I know we like to talk about, as Nick mentioned, 298s on the screen, multiple inside an environment. So this is just something that I always like to talk about and show. Not only is ViewSonic a leader when it comes to our interactive displays, but it gives you the option to put in specifically that visual aspect that will not only fit your room, but also wow or present that information in a visual way that makes everyone pay attention. So this is our 105-inch, which will come to market in the end of Q1 2021. It's actually 275s in a single pane of glass. So this is great if you are doing something just like you see on the screen. Maybe you're running Teams or Unite on one side, and then being able to have a full-fledged 75-inch on the right-hand side to be able to run MyViewboard or WebSurf or however you're using it for your environment. So this is great for not only boardrooms and conference rooms, but also huddle spaces and all environments where you're talking about maximizing that visual impact. As Jeff mentioned, we do have our 2 series, our 70 series, which once again is our best in class when it talks about, comes with a webcam embedded on it, an IoT sensor, but not only that, it's also USB Type-C inputs. So this is something that can definitely help you out as we migrate more into the USB Type-C. Is going to be the standard moving forward. And 65-inch and 86-inch options are just a walk-in and plug-in. Being able to charge that device as well, too, with 60 watts of charging. So this is just a great addition of how ViewSonic not only is making it easier and flexible for you with your devices that you already have.
But leveraging, obviously, the either your Intel Unite construct or the MyViewboard software will allow you to be able to cast or throw from your devices themselves. So I love the single cable aspect of somebody being able to come in and present. But oftentimes that leaves you, limited to that device itself. So, obviously in that environment, you're limited to the video card of that device. So you might lose the 4K functionality when you're down revving, if you will, resolution across the board. And that's what really makes the Intel MRS slot-in PC from ViewSonic so important to this. That without any additional power cables or anything along those lines, or USB for that matter, you slot in the device to the back. You have full aspect to the 4K, and touch is ready from the outset. That being said, we do understand that this has changed quite a bit here, since from a COVID point of view, and maybe touch is a little bit of a too intimate for you for your environment at this point in time. And that's actually, and I'm not seeing that we actually have the slide here, and I apologize, or I have it out of order, is the fact that we have actually retrofitted our traditional large format displays that we call our 20 series. To where they can actually achieve the same result with the slot and PCs. So if it's Unite or if it's a MyViewboard side of the house, you can then be leveraging this as a non-touch alternative for your classrooms or your huddle spaces. Wherever you need to be, where you need to separate or find distance, say social distancing with anyone in either the office or in the classroom or in the auditorium or wherever they are right now. You have the ability to impact that across the board, no pun intended. And that you can have that casting option from either the ViewSonic side and the VCast side and our MyViewboard, or traditionally through the Intel Unite side. So I think we're all familiar with the casting, so I'm not going to go too deeply into that side at all. But here's one that's really interesting that I think from an insight point of view, and I've really taken to heart, and it needs to leverage our next generation, the IFP70 Series, which are the Microsoft certified devices. So before I lead you into a phenomenal case study from Insight, I'd like to be able to share with you exactly what this is. If you're familiar with the 70 series, with the interactive flat panels only from a Microsoft Surface Hub aspect side of the house, then this is really going to be compelling for you. Microsoft makes sure that any devices that they'll actually promote, if you will, or they accept as being a peer, they put through a lot of paces. And we went over 2 years with Microsoft to actually have this 70 series introduced. So this is where we really would call this, affectionately the ViewSonic hub, if you will. So it is actually on the Microsoft site. Microsoft does promote it, deliver the specs, and then also authorize this as being a Microsoft-rated device for yourself. What does make this unique is, again, circling back around to the beginning, is that this is not just a Win 10 device. This is not just a Chrome device or an Apple device. This is operating system agnostic. And that's really where you're going to see the differences between our devices and the Microsoft Hub itself. But then when you think about it, we actually deliver so much more now into this by being certified at the Microsoft level. And that means that we are Azure certified, we are Teams certified, we are Office 365, and Skype for Business certified from the outset. These were different from the 50 series that we were talking about earlier, incorporate a couple different options here as well. Option being the wrong word, I apologize. But this comes with the embedded camera from the outset. And it also comes with the IoT sensors from the outset. And this is where it's really important. This is going to allow you to scan the room. And I really had not given this, Mark, and you probably can speak to this as well, or I know you can, when we had our conversations with the founder of Intel Unite, Brian Cockrell, is why the sensor would be so important to the classroom, to the to the hospitality areas, or anything along those lines. And it really is how Unite or how Azure collects data. So if it's a utilities point of view, is it a thermals point of view, and what difference those sensors would actually make.
Absolutely. When it comes to being able to collect the data as well, too, if it's anything from what we were talking about, who's using what inside the room from as you talk about as well, too, kind of a segue, you're talking about what rooms are in use, which rooms are not, as you see on the screen. That's very important when it talks about, obviously, in a COVID world, being able to make sure and maintain and see what's cleaned. And actually, let me just go, go one slide as well, too. So working with Azure as well, too, this is just how IoT sensors collect the room data, sends it directly to Azure, where not only you can be able to see how often a room's being used, has it been cleaned, it gives you the ability not only from the temperature, as you see here, the humidity as well too, in the room sensor capability. And Jeff, I know you were talking a little bit about the case study, so please feel free to jump right back in.
For sure. And Mark, that's so compelling too. This also allows your security teams, your HR teams to be able to see, or your teachers to see, at a moment's notice through this Azure collection, what is the student count? What is the population count within a room, for lack of a better term? But this is where it really comes full circle, and I really hope everybody on the call, has the opportunity to go by insight.com. And look at a case study for a K-12 just outside of Houston. I believe it to be Klein ISD. If not, it's Aldine. I apologize. But this is where they actually, Insight, stood up with Azure and then IoT sensors for emergency response. Deliverable to the school district there. So it really comes to a matter of how you can get out of the school quickly. Can you lock down? I'm doing it as a service from this point of view, but this is something that I never really gave a lot of thought to until seeing that white paper and case study from Insight. And I encourage you to talk to all of your reps about this, because here's what's very important: is that on the IFP70 series, this Viewboard itself, with the IoT sensors embedded, you have the ability to collect all of that information within the classroom. You also have the ability to push out whatever detail. So think about this. When what Insight did to provide that solution to the school district, they went those extra steps of having the IoT sensors, then having the devices, and how do you manage that? How do you see that? And you're incorporating Azure, or you're incorporating Intel Unite at that point in time. Now you actually have that on the panel itself. That can reside in the classroom, or this can reside at the administration level. So even on just an individual school, be it the principal or on campus, to where you can immediately impact any of your emergency response by gathering that information from the sensors themselves, and then pushing this back out in a Crestron level. So this is not even just a limitation to the board itself, and looking away from the projectors that you already have deployed, and you're just saying, it's either rip and replace, and budget can't do it, so we can't incorporate that. That's not true at all. Leveraging your current emergency response readiness and having this as an augment to it, is a phenomenal thought process here. And again, I'm not doing it justice right now. I look forward to having these individual conversations with you and with the Insight team to be able to further discuss this with you across the board. And of course, here we are. This is the one that is absolutely outside of order. This is the non-touched panel that I was discussing. These mirror the sizes of the interactive flat panels themselves. So if you're looking for something that in your classroom, as Nick was saying, you want 298s, a couple of 55s, this, that, and the other, we can keep to the spirit of the size within the classroom, so you're not just, muddled across the board. What I'd like to do before we open it up for questions as well is give you a reminder here to everyone of ViewSonic and our legacy. So, I know a lot of people are thinking, well, the software, the MyViewboard software, that is new to ViewSonic, and the answer is kind of. We've been working on this now for the better part of 5 years. The teams have grown. We're not going anywhere with this. So this is you're seeing the new face of ViewSonic from an interactive standpoint. But make no mistake, for over 33 years now, ViewSonic has been the world's largest minority-owned display company. This is what we offer, to the street, is that we are that next level. So, I apologize to everybody. We don't make refrigerators. We don't make washers and dryers. What we do is we provide the very best panels across the board that I believe are out there. And certainly you can call me biased, but it's our focus. It is what we do. It is our lineage. And on that point, I'd like to be able to open it up to questions for anyone here, and see if there's anything that we didn't explain well or something that you would like to see explained a little more effectively. And while we're waiting for that, and should there ever be for everybody that's on a recording here, is know that you can engage us, either Mark Alineo or Jeff Erb, through your Insight rep. So just tell your rep that you do want to have the opportunity to discuss the Intel market-ready solutions with ViewSonic, in greater detail. And trust that they know how to get a hold of us. So definitely looking forward to that.
I definitely want to take this time to thank Nick as well, too, for being able to join us and talk a little bit about what he is seeing as well, directly working with the end users. We do look forward, once again, as Jeff mentioned, to anyone that's watching this live or as the recording, to make sure you feel free to engage us at ViewSonic. We really do want to make sure that we answer your questions, not only free, but set you up with everything to make sure that your deployment goes as smooth as possible, and to make sure that it works, once again, with everything that you already have inside your existing environment. As I mentioned, technology is really all about comfort and how people use it. And as you can see with the tools from the IoT sensor to the MyViewboard software and the metrics, we got you covered. We want to make sure that not only did you deploy it with ease, but also it's being used and you have the data to back it up. So with that, I will turn it back over to Kelsey as well, too, for a closure. And just thank everyone once again for taking the time on this lovely December Thursday to join us and learn a little bit more about how ViewSonic and our Viewboards can help you out in your environment.
Thank you, guys. That concludes today's webinar. A big thank you to the presentation team today.
Sorry, hold on 1 second. I'm going to jump right back in. We do have one question from Robert. Sorry, I just saw that. So,
no worries.
Robert asked, do the solutions have a in-classroom camera capturing the facility member? So I assume you're talking about the 70 series. So you're talking about the camera that's embedded to the top of it. Yes, you could obviously turn on the webcam if that's what you're asking on the 70 series. Or if you prefer, we do have our own ViewSonic webcams that can attach to any of our Viewboards. Or you can, of course, attach any existing that you have, a Logitech or any other device as well, too. That's a webcam. Jeff, do you want to jump in with any further comments on that?
I do, because I actually read it a little differently. And Robert, okay. So hopefully thumb up, thumb down on this part of it, is that you also have the ability to leverage our camera or somebody else's camera on a tripod in the middle of the classroom facing the faculty member itself. So that's actually how we've been delivering a certain portion of this for the home student, if you will. So it gives you the opportunity to stand up a camera in the classroom as if it is a student as well. So you are looking at it from that point of view. Ceiling mounted. Let's get to that question from you, Robert, as well. It is actually wall mounted. Robert, or we do have rolling carts. We can introduce a third-party mounting options that we have available, or overall just to a different third party, depending on how you want to hang these devices. But please recall, due to the weight of this, some of these are ranging anywhere from 70 pounds up to the very largest being in that higher 100s. There is we're not going to recommend anyone to, to hang this and let it sway from a ceiling. Does that answer your question?
Oh, you're talking about ceiling mounted camera. So, I mean, and once again, Robert, this is where I wish you could talk as well, too, but I do love the question, so thank you. So, yes, as for the ceiling mounted camera, as long as it would be able to connect with the display, USB Type-C, HDMI, you can, of course, connect it to it. I believe that's what you're asking. Jeff, am I reading that one correctly?
I hope so, because that's the answer I would give. But Robert, let's let's definitely, Robert, if you're right there, please reach out to us directly at Jeff, Jeff, .erb, ERB as in boy, at ViewSonic.com. So that's jeff.erb at ViewSonic.com. and then we can take this offline and answer all of your questions on a call today. Would that be fair?
And we're absolutely happy to compare to the Brightlink, the 685i. So yes, last question. You're great, Robert. So I'm going to go ahead as well too and put both Jeff and my email in the answer to one of the chat. So we definitely look forward to engaging you as well afterwards. If you want, feel free as well too, just to put in your email, but I think we can of course get that as well as a follow-up from afterwards.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Kelsey, your turn again.
A big thank you to the presentation team today and for all the attendees. That we thank you for your time and the opportunity to come together today. With that, we'll turn you back to your day. Thank you.